The James Show Podcast.
James Parker. And one of the more annoying parts about this whole quorum situation is knowing that we have such a sissy-sounding bell in the State House of Representatives. Did you hear this? It gets gavelled in, and they get about, 45 seconds to a minute to all sit at their desk and hit the button to know if there's a quorum there. And in the meantime, they just ring this annoying bell over and over. And so this is 1 o'clock this afternoon. House is coming to order. Everyone come sit down at your seat. Kids, this is the junior high equivalent of roll call. And it's the bell that drives me nuts. Check this out. This thing. What is this? What is this? Okay, I got it. Okay, you don't have to do that again. Everyone heard. And we heard you on the microphone, but we heard the gavel. Can you stop with the bell? And so it looked like, I'm not going to play it the whole time, but that keeps going on for another 30 seconds. Can we do something more manly? Can't we do something like a gong? Wouldn't that be cool? Just... So that's the first thing I would fix. The next thing I would fix is actually punish these people for not doing their job. Wow, what a concept. You would get punished if you didn't do your job. I'd probably lose my job if I did a no-call, no-show. I don't know, maybe this is a call. If I no-showed for an entire week. I may not even have my job. How come they get to have theirs? That's a real punishment. Not, we're going to take away 30% of your operating budget. Or, you're going to be fined $500 a day. You're going to have to come pick up your check and a physical check in person. And that's not real punishment, sir. It's not a punishment at all if you have money. So no, either kick them out of office, arrest them, or shut up. 800-288-9227. I know that's kind of an oversimplification of it, but it really does seem that easy. Ken, Arlington, you're on WBAP.
I agree with everything that's been said, but I think what should happen is, and I don't know if it's like this locally as in state, but nationally, once you're voted out of office, you get a paycheck for the rest of your life. And I don't think that should happen.
Oh, my God. No, that shouldn't happen. Yeah. For some of them, you have to be in there for, I think it's 4 years in the House of Representatives, and then you get a pension for the rest of your life. What kind of garbage is that? Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I'm not sure what the retirement system is for the state of Texas. I don't think we have one, but I don't feel confident enough in that knowledge to feel confident enough in that knowledge.
If we do, get rid of it. I mean, I don't even believe the president should receive a check for the rest of his life. Look at Carter. I mean, he lived for another 50 years.
Well, and that's a relatively new thing. We did have previous presidents who died penniless.
Right.
And I think that was a glorious demonstration of how fair and good this country is.
Yeah, but I don't think locally, if they get voted out of office or kicked out of office, they should receive a check for the rest of their life.
I think everyone agrees with that one. Great call. That's Ken in Arlington, everybody. This is Mel, Cedar Hill, on a very loud phone. Go, Mel.
As a registered independent here, my question is, if the Republican caucus could actually win on their policies, and their policies were actually winning platforms, why would they need to redistrict to rig those districts in their favor? And two, how does that lead to a kangaroo court where the Democrats will be tried in absentia? Actually, without a grand jury, that's in the Constitution. Anything criminal has to go through a grand jury. So you would have to call a grand jury by the Constitution to indict someone criminally. How does that work? Thank you.
Okay, well, a couple things. They're not redistricting because they're so damn unpopular, and this is what they have to do to win. They're actually redistricting because they became so popular with Latinos that the previous gerrymander wasn't cutting it, and they could do even better if they did it halfway through the decade. Now, I realize they're breaking sort of the gentleman's agreement and the protocol of not redistricting willy-nilly without a court order in the middle of a decade. And I got to admit, I don't like that. I don't like them breaking that rule, but it's not a law. It's not, they're not breaking any laws. It was just kind of a gentleman's agreement. So they're taking advantage of something that they could have been taking advantage. Both sides could have been taking advantage of this entire time. So there's some legit criticism there, but it's not because they were so wildly unpopular they had to rejigger the map. It was because the Latino vote flipped, and that was the real impetus for this. The other part about the grand juries, don't worry about the grand jury stuff. These people aren't going to be punished. They've done this before. They don't go to jail. They don't face charges. That's just bloviating, fiery talk. So the rhinos can head fake the people who aren't paying enough attention to know that they're fake Republicans.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hey, two great questions. That's Mel in Cedar Hill. Appreciate you calling in, sir. Something else that's the talk of the town. Football's back. Thank God football's back. I've missed it so bad, like a little child. However, I don't get too excited about preseason. I don't watch preseason. I used to. I realize it's just false hope. And now I see preseason as nothing more than kissing your sister. So in order to fill in the gap of football information that I want, but I don't want to have to actually watch it, John Ingham, you can hear him on the weekends here on WBAP. He's the host of the morning show on weekends. John Ingham, how are the Cowboys looking in preseason so far?
Well, we don't know yet because tomorrow is our first game. So, and, you know, I understand how you feel, James, because that's the way most fans feel. But, you know, preseason is important for a lot of reasons, not the least of which it keeps me employed with the team. But for a lot of these guys, you know, this is their only time to shine. This is how they make teams all around the National Football League. And so it's important for those guys, but it's also very important for coaches like Brian Schottenheimer, the first-year head coach of the Cowboys. He's trying to do something that nobody has done in a long time with the Cowboys, and that is call plays and be the head coach. You know, Mike McCarthy did it, but he had done it before Brian Schottenheimer. This is his first time to ever be a head coach. And so mixing in having to call plays and be the head coach and do the, you know, watching the clock and all that, he needs those reps too. And so we're better than preseason for that. Then you've got Will McClay, the scouts and all of that, who are not only looking at the Cowboys players, but they're looking at players from all around the league to see if they have a need, if there's a player playing for somebody else that they may can go and snag. And so, yeah, it may not be the sexiest football in the world, but it is football. And so we're all excited about that.
It's something.
I'm much more excited now than I will be by game 3. You know, by game 3, everybody's like, okay, let's get the Dak and the guys. But as far as being the importance of it, it is important to a lot of people for a lot of reasons.
Okay. Do we expect to be any good this year?
Well, if you could tell me who's going to be healthy and who's going to be playing, I could say yes. And good is a relative term. I mean, obviously, compared to what the team was last year, I really don't know if they're going to have any more wins in the win column. They could. They could have 2 or 3 more. They could have 2 or 3 less. But what is exciting, James, is this team this year with the new coach, with the new philosophy, with the new players and everything else, there is a sense of feeling that this team hasn't had in a long, long time. And that's one of excitement. And for me, it's one of hope. And so because of that, I'm looking forward to having a fun season. So as far as being good, I think that's relative to whatever your perspective is, and it's different for different people.
All right, we're talking with John Ingham. He works with the Cowboys and also WBAP here on the weekends. Are we going to have Micah Parsons on the field?
No.
He's going to get traded?
No, I mean, I think he will be with the Cowboys, but he's not going to be on the field this game. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I think the last time you and I talked, last Saturday, Jerry had come out and said, don't get your panties in a bunch. He's going to sign. Don't lose sleep over it, was his exact words. So I think Micah's going to end up signing with this team. Micah wants to be here. I know he said he wanted to be traded. I think that was just posturing.
Well, John Ingham, so you think
so he'll be here?
Do you think he'll be on the field for the first game of the regular season?
Now that I don't know. You know, going back to when Emmitt Smith held out, he missed the first 2 games. They lost both of those games. They knew they had to have him. They go sign him, and they go on to win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they would do that with Micah, but Jerry seems to be fairly dug in, and so does Micah. And so I don't know that he'll be on the field at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on that Thursday night here in about a month. I hope so, but I don't think anybody can answer that right now other than just saying they both want this to happen. But Micah is under contract. However, if he's not there, James, it would cost him. These guys get paid weekly, and it's based on a 17-week season. And so if he's supposed to make $24 million this year, you can do the math real quick. that's a whole lot of money he's going to miss for each week that he's out. And so I don't think he would do that, but you never know.
Who's our running back? I know, right? For people who aren't paying attention, that is such a loaded question because we have 4 of them, and I don't know any of their names. I don't know any of these guys, John.
Well, 2 of them are the big bangers. 2 of them are the little quick guys. I can tell you that one of them was a draft pick out of the University of Texas, Blue, and he is super, super fast. He went down in practice yesterday, and they don't know the severity of it. I don't think it's too bad. But that was the guy that they were hoping to see tomorrow play quite a bit. I don't know who's playing and who's not yet, but I don't expect him to play just based off of what I've heard from his injury yesterday. But, you know, if you don't have a Saquon Barkley or an Emmitt Smith, then you kind of have to go by committee. And you want to have a big banger, and then you want to have a couple of quick guys. And so that's what the Cowboys have right now, just basically out of necessity. And so if they can just run it a little bit, Brian Schottenheimer has said he wants to run the football. Well, that's well and good, but when you've got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Jake Ferguson, you're going to really feed with the passing game. But as anybody that knows football knows, you set up the passing game with the running game. And so they're going to have to be effective to some degree, but to really get anywhere this year, their passing game is what's going to get them over the hump.
Do we have an offensive line?
Well, we do.
I mean, we have one.
Tyler Guyton's hurt. I mean, we have one, yeah.
But Zach Martin's gone.
Hurt.
Yeah.
Zach Martin's gone, but you filled in with a rookie out of Alabama, Tyler Booker, he only gave up 1 sack in 970 snaps in 3 seasons at Alabama.
That's amazing.
Last year, in almost 800 snaps, he only had 6 blown assignments. The kid can play, but he's a kid. He's a rookie. And so will he be Zach Martin day one? No. Can he be? Yes. But really, the question is at tackle, and Tyler Guyton is another guy who got hurt in training camp. He was going to be your starting left tackle. They don't know the severity of his injury either. And so, you know, injuries are starting to mount already for the team, and they haven't even played a preseason game. But I think the offensive line can be pretty good. You know, we'll have to see how they are in the run game. I expect them to be pretty good in the pass game as far as being able to get their blocks and help one another. But, you know, an offensive line has to play together. You're talking about 5 guys playing as one unit, and until you get some cohesiveness and have played for a while, there's going to be some growing pains.
All right, thanks for the update. This is John Ingham. You can hear him on the weekends here on WBAP. Good luck to the Cowboys, and we'll do a recap after the first preseason game. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good, James. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Have a good show.
With a few more thoughts here on the redistricting battle that has led to the Democrats fleeing the state, the stray dog Democrats, as Joe on X called them. I kind of like that. And then they attempted to reconvene the House at 1 o'clock here in Austin today. They didn't reach a quorum, so now they're announcing some punishments that all just sound like, I don't know, trifling little financial paper cuts, in my view. And without any real punishment, what's their incentive to come back? What's their incentive to not do this again in the future? Shouldn't we have done this the last couple of times they did it? And that's because we didn't. That's why we're here today. The answer to all this is yes. And so we have some incomplete business here. Fine. You're saying bad things about them. Fine. You're tweeting mean things about them. Are you going to do anything about it? Besides fine them or take away 30% of their operating budget? Ew. That's going to cost money. Well, that's nothing if you have financial backing. And these people have financial backing. That's the problem with anything being a fine. That means it's just legal for a price. You can't park here. Why not? You'll get a fine. All right. For what happens if I pay the fine? Well, then you can park here. Senator John Cornyn's on Twitter today, or at least his staff is. And he's pointing out how some of this stuff looks illegal. He tweeted a few hours ago, when Democrat state legislators abandon their posts, bring state business to a halt, violate the state constitution, and let Beto's PAC and other dark money sources pay for it, yes, we should have law enforcement resources investigate. Hope that clears this up. Why don't you just call for them to be arrested? Why you got to soft pedal it? There's another one here where he's going, here, for example, the Interstate and Foreign Travel in Aid of Racketeering Enterprise statute, known as the Travel Act, USC something or other, makes it illegal to cross state lines to carry out unlawful activities. Well, stop hitting at it and demand they be arrested. And are you just talking tough because you got to face re-election and you're widely known as one of the biggest rhinos in American politics? Then over here, the guy who's running against Attorney General of the great state of Texas, Ken Paxton, he just tweeted, when was this? 2:25 p.m. So after the James show started, an hour or so after the quorum failed, he has filed a lawsuit with the Supreme Court of Texas in order to declare the runaway representatives, declaring their seats vacant. So that's actually some action. Some things are being done here. Now you're all caught up. Do you think they'll be really punished? Do you even think the people that are in positions of power want them to be punished? What would you do to keep this from happening again? 800-288-9227. Doug Quinlan, you're on WBAP.
Hey, James.
Hey, Doug.
Listen, I'm nobody. You know, born a Republican in Texas, been one my whole life. I'm 62. I'm an RMP. That stands for Responsible Master Plumber. About, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, we ran into a brick wall, and I almost lost my license and every other RMP in Texas, and all because of our current Speaker of the House, Justin Burrows.
Explain. I don't know this story.
Well, deep research went into this, and we come to find out, well, eventually a grassroots group came together called 77,000 Plumbers. And that's how many licensed plumbers at all stages there were in Texas. I think there's over 100,000 now. But about that grassroots operation in about 2 months had every plumbing supply house and every available plumber, 20,000 plumbers showed up in Austin and on the steps of the courthouse, the Capitol, and they were peeking out the window. They didn't know we were coming and put a stop to Justin Burrows, who was heading this up. And what it was is the Real Estate Commission, the Texas Real Estate Commission, the Builders Association, all had donated money to his campaign to overtake our private entity that operates under Sunset. But, the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners
okay, Doug,
is a private... Yeah.
I got 30 seconds left. How would you fix this?
Get rid of Justin Burrows. He can be bought. It's already been proven his whole career. He's been bought. Agreed.
Well, I've got the list, and he's top. Do you have the Rhino list? Email me, and I'll send you the Rhino list. It's just a link to the map. I got the list from Brian Harrison. We got a map put together. I put the list next to the map so you can find out if you live in one of the districts for one of the people that are voting for people like Justin Burrows or Justin Burrows himself. And let's take care of this in the primary. In the meantime, there's not a whole lot else just regular old Joe Public can do. The consensus that we've come to in the discussion that we've had thus far is that they, at a bare minimum, have to lose their seats. And if no one is talking about that, well, Ken Paxton at 2:30, so just about an hour ago, filed a letter with the Supreme Court of Texas asking for their seats to be vacated. All right, he's serious, but if nothing's going to happen there, if you're not pushing for them to lose their seat, I'm not taking you serious. And Dustin Burrows, the Speaker of the House, one of the biggest rhinos we have in the Lone Star State, he doesn't sound like that's what he's pushing for. So if you were skeptical of him, he has proven you right again. This is Monty and Denton. How would you fix this on WBAP?
Well, we got to put power where it's at. And at the end of the day, we know that if you follow the money, that's in business. That's how we find the solution. The issue I see is that if you look where all these Democrats are running to, they're running to failed states. When you make states accountable, if you're a failing state, take away their funding, take away what they need, make them lose delegates. Then they rebuild their state because they have more of a voice, because they have standing ground, because delegates do their job. And I'll keep it that simple, and that's my voice on the way out.
All right. Sounds good, Monty. Great call. I appreciate it. Everyone got to hear your thoughts. Let's try Jack in Dallas. You're on WBAP. How would you fix this?
I would get the president to get behind me, and those seats that he's talking about opening up, I would guarantee 4 of those seats going to be replaced. I would get Crockett. I would get the other lady, Iola, whatever her name is, that Indian lady, and I would get that lady from Los Angeles, and I would get that guy from Houston with the cane.
Al Green?
I'll for them. Yeah, I file for, and I bet you all of them fall in line. You find 4 of them and make it happen.
What do you mean file it? Like try and kick them out of office?
File. Yeah, kick them out of office.
I don't think we have any control over the National Congress, even though that's what the maps. Are you saying redraw the maps so they would be excluded? Because we can't kick them out of office. We can kick our own legislators out of office in Austin, but they're not in Austin. They're in D.C.
Well, they're in Austin, too. They from like Crockett. She's out of
Dallas. I'm sitting in her district right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can get her out. If you get them 4 big mouths out, you got everybody else. They'll fall in line.
Yeah, well, I can't argue with that. And the one big way he's right, and thank you very much, Jack in Dallas, if you take away their seats or just threaten to take away their seats, that's what they're here for. They don't care about the money. They'll get more money. They have donors that can back that up. They don't care about censured or you calling them ugly names, or they don't even really care that much about their committee seats or their chairmanships or whatever. It's all about the power. Politicians are all about the power. Businessmen are all about money. Politicians are all about power. And if you're not taking that away, you're not really punishing them. All right, next on the James Show, let's talk about this WNBA situation. Have you been keeping up with this? I don't know if that's the right music, but in this one, this is a weird trend that I hope doesn't catch on, and I think will go away soon. But in 3 games in the last week, someone has taken it upon themselves to throw an adult toy on the court during a game. Bruce calls them marital aids. I like that because that's funny. Or relationship aids, I guess, because you don't have to be married for it to help. But we all know what I'm talking about, right? I'm not going to get more specific than that because we could have kids in the backseat of someone's car listening right now. But, okay, before I get into my explanation on how this could ultimately be a good thing for the WNBA in the long run, let me lay the first foundation so I don't get any complaints. This is wrong. This should stop. I don't encourage this. I don't like this. I don't want this to happen. Everyone agrees. Most sane people agree it should not continue because there's minor children that watch the WNBA, and exposing these minor children to obscene materials like these adult toys is generally agreed to be a bad thing, especially here on the James Show. Okay? Now, is this brief episode of unacceptable behavior bad for the league? No, not if it's brief. If this is just going to be something that happens a few times and goes away, it's fine. On a long-term scale, of course, this would be bad for the league. People wouldn't want their kids to watch. People wouldn't invite take their kids to the game anymore. They wouldn't show their little girls, hey, look, you can be just like them. What, the ones that are dodging the flying toys? Yeah, that would be a bad look. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. The WNBA is going to lock it down. They're going to find the people who are doing this and punish them. And this will all go away in probably a week or so. And so when I don't mean that, when I say this could be good for the league, I do not mean that in a shallow or objectifying way. I mean, as a dollars and cents, branding, marketing, promotional story, this could be more upside than downside. Because now you have the WNBA in a position to actually stand up for family values and things that are seen to be generally, values that are held in higher esteem by Team Red. They do a lot to appeal to the political values and sensibilities of Team Blue. Oh, they've got that covered. They're all over Pride Month. They're all over women's empowerment. They're all over the patriarchy. They do these press conferences where these women are just spouting the same talking points as a Jasmine Crockett or The View or whatever. Oh, they've got that covered, but this is a great opportunity. And if they react correctly, which I think they will do, to appeal to the family values crowd, the Team Red sensibilities, and saying, hey, listen, there's a place for that in the world, but it's not going to be in a public arena like the WNBA where minor children are watching. So can we all knock it off? Now, this is a chance for them to reach out and make themselves look a little more presentable and acceptable to people who are skeptical of all this other political stuff that they don't agree with. So I think it'll stop. I don't think this will continue. I will admit, in some very immature way, it's kind of funny. We can just go ahead and get a couple giggles out of that. But overall, I think this is something that should go away pretty quick and shouldn't have any lasting negative effects. Now, allow me the caveat, and this is an important one. If this continues and the WNBA doesn't put a stop to it and they don't respond properly, oh, yes, this could be absolutely catastrophic for the WNBA. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up on the James Show, I'm going to get you caught up on all the new laws for schools that are taking effect in Texas as our kids and grandkids are going back to school this month. You'll find out what you need to know on the James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.